Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the VisWorld Weekly podcast on April 11th, 2009. We've got a lot of stuff to cover this week, so let's go ahead and get started. First up, I want to talk about a few changes on the website. You might have noticed that now we actually support forums, so feel free to stop by and post any type of comment or question that you want. Maybe we'll have somebody that can give you an answer. Also, earlier this week, we posted the Augmented Reality Special Edition podcast that you might want to come check out and see some fun examples of ways you can experiment with virtual reality on your own computer. Also this week, there was a special email interview conducted with Eugene Lacio of the AI2 3D Forensic Animation Company. That's a great one to check out to get some details on how the stuff that you see on CSI and NCIS is actually done in the real world. So let's go ahead and get started with the news. First up, hardware. First off in hardware this week, we're going to start with AMD. AMD renewed its commitment to OpenGL this week, which is a long roundabout way of saying they released new drivers that support OpenGL 3.0 for their FirePro cards. So if you're an ATI user, you want to go check those out. Also this week, in an interview with Mr. John Swinimer, the public relations manager of AMD, they leaked out that they're working on a new 40 nanometer process for their cards, which we can all expect will make their cards cooler and faster and allow them to pack a lot more pipelines onto them. They also talk about some integrated GPU-CPU work they're working on that they call APUs, Accelerated Processing Units, that they expect we'll be seeing in 2011. And they also leak out a little bit about a new special mobile device with a 10-inch diagonal screen that they're working on. I imagine they're collaborating with some others on that, but they don't offer any details. So in response to AMD's news, Nvidia released some news. They released a new beta of the CUDA 2.2. Big news in this feature is that they've got an integrated runtime debugger tool so that you can put breakpoints and stops on code while it's executing on the GPUs. They've also added some features like a asynchronous mem copy for Vista systems and direct access to system memory. They also are this week and over the next 4 weeks running some GPU computing webinars for free. You have to go to their website to register, but on April 15th and 29th at 11 a.m., they're holding an Introduction to GPU Computing, which will be an hour-and-a-half long webinar, covering the basics of GPU computing, data transfers, how to execute instructions on the GPU, and the on-chip shared memory. On the 22nd and the May the 6th at 11 a.m., they'll be having some more advanced webinars on performance considerations for CUDA programming, which will again be an hour-and-a-half long. This will cover optimization techniques, configurations, and benchmarking. Now you may also remember a week or two ago I mentioned that the IZ3D people will be demoing some of their 3D LCD monitors at NAB in a few weeks. Well, they've had some website troubles that they've just recovered from, and now if you go to their website, they have a free coupon code for $70 off any of their monitors. So if you're interested in getting one, now's the good time to go check it out. So that's it for hardware. Moving on to graphics this week. First off, there was a great behind-the-scenes video of Sid the Science Kid, which is a new computer-generated animation, weekly animation cartoon, which airs on the Disney Channel, I believe. This is done by the Jim Henson's group, but they've developed some new technology that's very interesting that allows them to produce this in a time similar to what it takes to produce an actual live sitcom. Almost all the animation is done in real time using what they call digital puppetry, where the animators and the actual puppeteers work hand in hand so that the puppeteers can move the 3D models using various motion capture rigs. It's pretty interesting technology, and I expect we're going to see a lot more of it in the future. Also this week, Supinfocom, the graphics university, released a pair of videos that are both HD 1080p and available on Vimeo. Links are on the website. They are both developed in 3ds Max and use scanline rendering instead of the typical V-Ray or Mental Ray. The first one is Machu Picchu Post, which is a cute story of a lonely kid who makes friends with an airmail pilot. The second one is From the Line, which is a pseudo-realistic story based on street basketball and the life story of some of the great stars. So those are both fun, outstanding quality videos. Also coming up in a few weeks, CG Workshop has a new tutorial coming out on ZBrush, which will be run by Zach Petrock. It starts April 27th and runs for 8 weeks, with weekly assignments that are each estimated to take 4 to 6 hours. So if you're interested in ZBrush, there's your chance. Also, in a somewhat strange note this week, Randy Thorne was selected as a SIGGRAPH keynote speaker. Now, Randy Thorne hasn't actually done anything in computer animation. His field of study is in audio. Now, SIGGRAPH claims that this is in response to a new special focus they're adding on integrating audio into video productions, which seems to cement the fact that SIGGRAPH is moving away from being a science conference and becoming more of an animation and computer graphics conference. So, final section of the podcast this week, science. There's a great press release from Argonne this week talking about their new Eureka Cluster, which they bought from GraphStream. It uses quadruplex S4s and what they call a pizza box configuration, offers 3.2 terabytes of RAM and 111 teraflops estimated performance. It contains 10,000 drives and 2,000 network connections over 9 switches, and they pack all of this into 4 racks. Of course, this is meant for some high-end visualization work, and they have some more information in the press release. Also, kind of a fun one, TechCrunch has released their new Web Trends graph for the year. This is a great infographic that plots the 333 most influential web domains and 111 most influential web people onto a Japanese metro map. There's some interesting subtleties in it on how they relate these websites together. It's fun, and it's on Zoomerama because it is a friggin' huge graphic, so you have to be able to see it only in pieces. They'll be selling posters of this eventually. There's also a great article that came out this week from ReadWriteWeb talking about real-time cities, and is it actually useful or is it just information porn? Data porn or viz porn is a phrase that's commonly thrown around in scientific visualization circles as graphics that are stunning and beautiful to look at but offer little to no value. And that's the focus of this article is, does all this new data and information graphics that are coming out, like in the WikiCity project, really make cities more efficient, or is it simply just impressive and pretty to look at? The article really says that it could be useful, but we just don't know yet. So you can go to their website and read the full thing. Also, coming out in the next 2 weeks, I believe, is a new paper in the March 29th issue of Neuron from John Reynolds, PhD, from the Neurobiology Lab at the Salk Institute, who's made some interesting discoveries on the human vision and perception system related to attention. He's done some extensive research and come up with some interesting ideas on how the human vision system actually parses the massive amounts of visual information that come into the brain and distill it down into actual reasonable areas. So if I can get a copy of that article, we'll talk about it. And I wanted to end this podcast with a rather fun informatic that you might have seen on TV. It's the Sprint telecommunications company, their new ad called What's Happening, which shows some rather entertaining statistics related to the mobile industry. Of course, my favorite part is the part where they talk about Twitter, and 26% of the viewing audience doesn't know what Twitter is. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I managed to get it in this week under YouTube's 10-minute limit, so you'll be able to see it there. Look forward to seeing you again next week, and have a good one. So, you go into a conference, meeting with some vendors, got an interesting animation or video or just a piece of viz that you want to show, contact us. We'd be happy to host it, include it in a segment, and you might even get paid. So feel free to drop us a line at any of the email addresses or links shown on the website. Thanks.